Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do I have your permission to start?
Please. Yes, indeed.
Talha said no.
Yes.
Inshallah. If I got the okay from the Ammul, we're good to go. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, fear Allah and worship Him as He should be feared, and do not die only except in a state of Iman. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. خصوصا على سيدنا ورسوله وخاتم الأنبياء وعلى آله الأزكياء وأصحابه الأتقياء أما بعد. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب عمل يقربنا إلى حبك يا رب العالمين. Marwan, you shaking your head. I finally said it right. Alhamdulillah. I've been getting called out too much on saying it incorrectly. Who knows what the mistake I was making when I was saying that statement?
حبك.
حبك. I was saying حبك, but it should be إلى حبك لأن
حبك.
حبك حرف إلى is جر. حبك مجرور. صح؟
Yeah.
Are we going to argue Ayman today?
I have to.
Talha, please. I'm good, right? He's studying Sarf, man. Khalas. Allah barik feekum. Alright, welcome back everybody to the Prophet, peace be upon him, series. Alayhi salatu salam. We are on our 10th session, alhamdulillah. It's been a great series, by far my favorite series that we have done, that I have been a part of. And there's nothing better than, learning about the blessed Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Not 2 weeks ago, what did we talk about? What is the last thing we talked about? Rebuilding the
Kaaba.
Kaaba. We talked about rebuilding the Kaaba. Why was that a very important topic for us to talk about? Why was that topic, why did we have to mention talking about rebuilding the Kaaba?
Pre-prophethood.
What was that?
Because it's pre-prophethood.
Because it's pre-prophethood, right? So it's pre-prophethood, and when we're studying the seerah of the Prophet Muhammedﷺ, we're trying to go as much and get as much details as we can. But what was significant about rebuilding the Kaaba? Yes?
Rebuilding the Kaaba shows that the Kaaba itself isn't sacred, but the location itself is rather sacred. It's not the bricks and the stones that are sacred, but the location.
Please tell me, how old are you? 11 years old. MashaAllah, tabarak ar-Rahman. MashaAllah. He said rebuilding the Kaaba shows that the Kaaba itself is not sacred. But what is sacred? It's the land that is on it's sacred. It's not the bricks and stones that are sacred when it comes down to rebuilding the Kaaba. It's the land of the Kaaba itself. The haram, the area, is what's sacred. But why else is it very important for us to learn about this story, this incident about rebuilding the Kaaba?
Prophet was part of it.
The Prophet Muhammad played a big role in it.
Put the black stone.
He put the black stone. He was the one who placed the black stone. Now again, we're going to ask another question. Why is it important that he was the one who put the black stone? Now, and here we talk about that when it came down to rebuilding the Kaaba, right? The people of Quraysh were like, no, we're not trying to rebuild it. Because the Kaaba over time was going through things. Meaning that it was getting exposed to weather, it got exposed to a fire, it got exposed to a flood, so it needed to be rebuilt. But Quraysh was like, no, we can't touch it. They said, we can't touch it, right? So, and why were they saying we can't touch it? We can't rebuild it. Because when you rebuild something, you have to do what before you rebuild it? You have to destroy it. You have to tear it down. And Quraysh was like, we're not about to do that. This is the Kaaba itself. We're not about to do that. So a man, right? So the Quraysh, what was it? وَخَافُوا مِنْ أن يصيبهم أذى. They were scared that something was going to happen. لأن أكثرهم شاهد ما الذي حدث لأبرهة الحبشي. Many of them have witnessed what happened to Abraha when he came with the elephants and he tried to destroy the Kaaba. They saw what happened. That was just only about 35 years ago from this incident. So like now we're not, the last person who tried to destroy it got destroyed. So we're not touching it, right? But then what happened? فقال لهم الوليد بن مغيرة, he said, أتريدون بهدمها للإصلاح أم الإساءة? Are you guys wanting to destroy it for the sake of, to fix it, or are we destroying it for the sake of just destroying it because we just suck? What do you guys prefer? You know? They were like, yeah, you got a good point. He's like, all right then, let's grab our tools, let's go. So yeah, let's go. Quraysh was like, let's do it. Let's go rebuild the Kaaba. So when Walid Mughira goes and grabs his tools, he comes back out from his house, and Quraysh is like, go ahead, destroy it. Like, what are you guys talking about? He said, we all agreed to do this together. They said, no. You destroy it, and if nothing happens to you tomorrow and you're still alive, it's a sign for us that we can go ahead and start rebuilding with you, right? But if something doesn't happen, or if something does happen to you, then it's a sign that we can't touch it. Now, it's a sign we can't touch it. فقالوا, they said, ننتظر إلى غد. فإن أصيب الوليد لن نهدم منها شيئا ورددناها كما كانت وإن لم يصبه شيء فقد رضي الله صنعنا فهدمنا. They said, let's just wait. Let's give it some time, right? But now it came down to rebuilding the Kaaba. Each tribe was given a little bit of a piece. You rebuild this side, you rebuild that side, you rebuild the door, you rebuild the stairs, you rebuild all this, right? And then it came time to place the black stone back on the Kaaba. And now the tribes are like, no, this is the most important part. We're putting the black stone on. So we can't, like every tribe saying, we're the most important tribe. We're the most important tribe. So they said, they were about to fight. Blood was about to be spilled in the haram. So they said, you know what, let's make a deal. And none of them were really, they were about to fight, but they didn't fight. It's like, Kayla and me, you get in a fight, but we're like scared to hit each other. You swing first, bro. Do something, you know? We're all trying to get into it, you know, but we don't want to get into it, you know? So that's how they were treating each other. Now, so they said, you know what, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal on what happens here, right? They said to them, they said, you know what, here's what we need to do. The deal is, this is the father of Salama, he came up with this deal, right? He was, وَكَانَ عَامَئِذٍ أَسَنَّ رَجُلٌ فِي قُرَيْشٍ فَقَالَ يَا مَعْشَرَ قُرَيْشٍ أَجْعَلُ بَيْنَكُمْ فِي مَا تَخْتَلِفُونَ فِيهِ أَوَّلَ مَنْ يَدْخُلُ مِنْ بَابِ بَنِي شَيْبَةٍ فَرَضُوا وَقَبِلُوا هَذَا الرَّأْيَ جَمِيعًا. They said, look, whoever's going to come in next through that door, we don't know who's about to come in through the door. But whoever comes in through that specific door, because there was multiple gates and entrances of the haram, but whoever from Banu Shayba comes in through that door will be the one to decide what we do with the Kaaba. Why did they like that? Because they were a society of gambling. They liked taking risks, right? And this was a gamble. Na'am. But then it's none other than the Prophet Muhammedﷺ. And the minute he walks in, look at the foreshadowing. Look at the foreshadowing. فأشخصوا أبصارهم إلى باب المسجد إلى باب المسجد, right? And he says that every neck was constantly looked, and it's Abdurrahman who walks in, right? Every neck was looking on who's going to be walking in through the door. Everybody was like, all right, who's about to be the next person? And it was none other, right? فإذا به الصادق الأمين رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. It's none other than الصادق الأمين, the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. كأن الله عز وجل أرسله ليخلص قريشا من هذا الشر المستطير. فلما رأوه قالوا هذا الأمين رضينا. He walked in, they said, oh, Muhammad, the trustworthy, the truthful, yeah, we're cool with that. He can be the one to place it. How many years before prophethood did this happen? 5 years. So there's still 5 years to come, meaning the Prophet ﷺ was about 35 years old. Why are we talking about this before prophethood? Listen to the words they said. They said, he's a sadiq al-amin, he's a trustworthy, he's a truthful, we're cool with him. He can be the one. Why? Because in 5 years, he's going to stand on top of the mountain of Safa and says, I am Rasulullah. And they say, nah, you're lying, bro. You're not. Well, just 5 years ago, they were calling you a sadiq al-amin. But now you're going against their morals. But even then, when they said, no, you're a liar, the people of Quraysh said, no, he's not known for lying. We can't call him a liar. No, then he's a majnoon. Something's going on up here. He's a kahin. He's a magician. He's a soothsayer. But we can't call him a liar. Why? Because his whole entire life, we've known him for sidq. We've known him for truthfulness. That's one trait we can't say about him. Right? SubhanAllah. So this is what we talked about last week, and it was kind of foreshadowing the big events that are coming up. And this week we're going to be talking about the actual revelation, the coming of revelation. So 10 sessions in, we're finally to prophethood. But before I get to prophethood, I want to mention one thing that we didn't mention. وقال الإمام الذهبي رحمه الله تعالى والذي لا ريب فيه. There's no doubt about this from what Imam al-Dhahabi says. أن المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم كان معصوما قبل الوحي وبعده وقبل التشريع من الزنا قطعا ومن الخيانة والكذب والسكر والسجود للوثن والاستقسام بالأزلام ومن الرذائل والسفة وبذاء اللسان وكشف العورة فلم يكن يطوف عريانا ولا كان يقف يوم عرفة مع قومه بمزدلفة بل كان يقف بعرفة. Imam al-Dhahabi says, before the Prophet Muhammedﷺ, it was known that before we talk about the wahy, we got to talk about this. He says, there's no doubt that the Prophet Muhammedﷺ كان معصوما قبل الوحي. What does that mean? معصوما قبل الوحي. What does that mean?
That if there was anything wrong that he was corrected for, or
No.
He was protected.
protected.
From what? What is he protected from?
Sin.
From sin, right? Protected from sin. But most importantly, we're talking about protected from the normal things that Quraysh used to do. The norms, that's what we're trying to focus on. He wasn't involved in gambling. He wasn't involved in the normalized fornication and zina that's happening. He wasn't involved in interest. He wasn't involved in drinking. Nor has he ever bowed his head down to an idol. Naam? And when he used to perform Hajj with them, right? On Yom Arafah, he wouldn't go to Muzdalifah with them. Why? Because there was an idol that they used to worship there. So he refused to go to Muzdalifah with them. He said, I'm not a part of that. So he would go stand on Arafah by himself while everybody was in Muzdalifah. This is before the Prophet Muhammad, this is before the Prophet, right? Now this is where we get to the signs of revelation. قلق غامض وعدم ترقب لنبوة أو رسالة. قلق غامض. What does that mean? طلحة, what is قلق?
Mysterious anxiety.
Mysterious anxiety. Give me a better word for غامض. A better word for غامض.
Say,
Repeat the phrase again.
قلق غامض. So, قلق, we said anxiety. What's غامض? For example, we say اللون غامض. What does that mean, Abdullah?
dark anxiety.
Another word.
Obscure.
غامض. Deep.
No, but hold on.
No, ain't no, hold on, we searched it up in the... Sa'ad,
No,
please,
it's-
please, the
seriously.
dictionary.
غامض, mysterious. غامض, بقاف. That's
No,
that's
غامض,
dark.
ضاد.
Yeah, dot, that's mysterious.
No, deep. That could be a word, but غامض, we're using this specific word, deep anxiety. Sheikh Mikhail is about to get some heat if I get this wrong, bro. But anywho, check on that for me, please. قلق غامض. وكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يجد في نفسه قلقا غامضا لا يعرف مصدره ولا مصيره. Are we in prophethood? He said that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would find himself this anxiety inside of him, concealed, غامض, concealed. We're both wrong, not you, not me. Yalla.
Translate conceal.
Translate concealed, غامض.
I got mysterious.
No, see? Mysterious. I got mysterious.
Concealed, no, 2v1, 2v1.
No, mysterious.
No, we won,
Over
bro.
here.
Stop, we won. Talha won, actually. Talha and Sa'ad won.
Mysterious, fuzzy, and vague.
That's wrong, bro.
Ambiguous. Enigmatic.
What is Mons?
Monson is not here today. He's not gonna know.
Opaque.
Opaque? Now you're getting too deep, brother. Big words for me.
What is the context?
يا أخي, we've been talking. What do you mean,
It
Mustafa?
wasn't about them too.
Okay, I forgive you. وكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يجد في نفسه قلقا غامضا.
Unknown here.
Unknown, concealed.
He didn't know.
Okay. لا يعرف مصدره ولا مصيره. He doesn't know where this came from, this anxiety. وما كان يخطر بباله لحظة. It wouldn't ever cross his mind. والله, it wouldn't ever cross his mind that what? It would never cross his mind that he would ever become a prophet or be chosen or be something big. It never crossed his mind. نعم. وكان من حكمة الله تعالى وتربيته أن نشأ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أميا لا يقرأ ولا يكتب. And it is from the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jal that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was raised and brought up ummiyan. He doesn't know how to read or write. Before I get into why that is a wisdom, I want you to answer to me, why do you think that is? Yes, Bilal.
Because the Quran was revealed to him, and he said he recited the Quran. So don't say that he wrote it or like came up with it.
Or read it somewhere. Yes, that's exactly why, right? It's that the Quran was revealed to him, and nobody from Quraysh could come up and say, "Nah, you must have wrote this, or you must have came up with it." Or maybe when you traveled on one of your business trips, maybe you read it in some book far away and we didn't know about it. And we don't have access to this book. And this is mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Rum. وَمَا كُنْتَ تَتْلُو مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنْ كِتَابٍ وَلَا تَخُطُّهُ بِيَمِينَكَ إِذَا لَارْتَابَ الْمُبْطِلُونَ. There's no way, there's no doubt. They can't find doubt. They can't bring anything upon you. Because this is the kitab we revealed on you. You didn't just come up with it. You didn't write it down. You didn't find it somewhere, right? And there's a specific hikmah for that. When people sit there today and say, how are you going to believe in a prophet that didn't know how to read or write? Yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm absolutely proud of that. Because that means look at the miracles that are in the Quran. He didn't know how to read or write. So how would he know it 1400 years ago? If he didn't know how to read or write. Right? It's just a counterproductive argument. Na'am? People can't use that for that specific reason. It's actually a blessing for us rather than a negative or a con. Right? مقدمات نزول الوحي. Let's talk about the first steps of wahi. Right? Because the light switch can't be turned on right away. You know, you're just waking up and turning your eyes and your mom's just, wake up, professor. Lights are on. Put the blanket over your head and you just gotta gradually get used to it, right? The light switch can't be turned on the Prophet Muhammad right away. That's not how it works. Allah has to prepare him. Why? Because we know in the Quran, Surah Muzammil, later on it says, إِنَّا سَنُلْقِ عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. We're truly, verily going to put down and we're going to give you some very heavy words. You can't just take it right away. We got to get you used to taking these words, right? It's a heavy message. So Allah gives him some experiences to get him ready for revelation. Here are those experiences. أولاً الرؤيا الصادقة. The first one is dreams coming true. Dreams coming true, right? أول ما بدي به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من النبوة الرؤيا الصادقة. فكان لا يرى رؤيا في نومه إلا جاءت كفلق الصبح. He would see a dream at night, and by the morning, it happens as if as true as the sun when it rises in the morning. You see it; it's bright in front of you. It's not fake. Those dreams would come true right then and there by the next morning, by the next day. And he was experiencing this for quite some time. حتى مضت على ذلك 6 أشهر. For 6 months he was seeing dreams almost every single day, and the next day they were coming true. For 6 months. ثم بدي بالوحي. The Prophet Muhammedﷺ فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يبق من النبوة إلا المبشرات أو المبشرات. قالوا وما المبشرات؟ قال الرؤيا الصالحة، رواه البخاري. وقال أيضا صلى الله عليه وسلم الرؤيا الحسنة من الرجل الصالح جزء من 46 جزء من النبوة. Do you remember the math equation that was used in class? Talha? He says, وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. He says, now who's good at math here? Talha, you know the answer to this. Other than the younger kids. Who's good at math? I need somebody older just in case we got to embarrass you. Nah, it's an easy math equation. Allahu Akbar, Ishaq is here. Or sorry, Ismail is here. MashaAllah, I haven't seen this guy in a long time. You wanna give this a shot? Okay. Who wants to be his backup? It has to be somebody older. Has to be somebody older. No, it's not just older by a day or 2 days. We're not using that. Give me somebody who's older, like who's done through college or is in college. Wallahi, it's super easy math. I promise you, don't be afraid. Sisters are shy back there. All right, brother Bilal. Here's what we got. Ready? Pull out your calculators. So, the Prophet ﷺ said, are you with me? He says, an-nubuwa, or he says, dreams are one, what did he say?
1 of 46.
1 of 46. 1 of 46 parts of nubuwa. So it's a fraction. Here it's mentioned 6 months he was seeing, for 6 months he was seeing true dreams. 6 months. How long was prophethood? Simple question. It's not a bad question, guys. How long is prophethood? 23 years.
Oh wow, 46.
Boom. 6 months in fractions, what is that of 23 years?
46.
146.
146. And the Prophet ﷺ says, what did he say in this? الرؤيا الحسنة من الرجل الصالح جزء من 46 جزء من النبوة. And he saw dreams for 6 months before revelation, which was 23 years. And later on he says this. Maths. Very good. Daniel, we struggled in class, bro. I remember, bro, we struggled in class. You guys got it right away. We struggled in class. I thought I was doing something today, but you guys are smart, mashallah. Daniel, so the first sign of wahi was dreams. الرؤيا الصادقة. The second one, ثانيا حب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم للخلوة. Right? He began to love, khalwa is
Loneliness.
solitude, loneliness, seclusion, being alone.
Did he say what the other 45 parts were?
No, he didn't mention it in this hadith.
So just,
Yeah.
you know that this is 46.
That's the only thing of nubuwah that we believe is left. Sheikh, correct me if I'm wrong.
Wait, so it's just the dreams?
Just the dreams. Because after the Prophet ﷺ, khalas. Right? So here in this hadith, he says, فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يبق من النبوة إلا المبشرات فقالوا وما المبشرات قال الرؤيا الصالحة رواه البخاري. Done. That was the hadith. That's the 1 of 46 parts. Wallahu a'lam. Allah knows best. Right? So the Prophet Muhammad loved seclusion. Loved to be alone. Brothers, come up, come closer. We got brothers cramming in the corner. Come up, please. So the Prophet Muhammad loved to be alone. نعم. ولما تقاربت سن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم 40 حبب الله تعالى إليه الخلوة. You know what's very beautiful about this word khalwa? In Libya, when you go study Quran at a masjid, you go study at a khalwa. When you want to study Quran in Libya, you go study in a khalwa. Almost every masjid has a separate room that's attached to the masjid, and we call it al-khalwa. And that's where you were raised, that's where you grew up, that's where you got the for not memorizing, right? It's called al-khalwa. Why? Because it's outside the world. You're not a part of it. You're just away from everything. It's a quiet room, and when you walk in there, right? And when there's a bunch of students, all you hear is the chatter of the Quran. That's it. No other talk in the khalwa. Very beautiful, and I love that, right? And it's when you start connecting these things as you study the seerah, it's a beautiful thing. Yes, Bilal.
So I just want to understand the significance of the 1 out of 46.
Yes, talk to me.
So is this like, what are the signs that indicate that he is the prophet?
Not signs. Now, I don't think it's signs, but I think it's maybe you can say conditions. Let's say.
Like, the only Khadija's uncle passed away.
A cousin, Waraqa.
Cousin, bin Nawfal, right?
Yes.
He looked at the sign, which is, I guess, the sign. I learned this when I was a kid, so I don't know how true this is. But like, there's like a series of moles. It's a ishara, and then each mole has a hair of different color.
Love.
Like one's red, one's blonde, one's black, brown.
Mm-hmm.
And he checked that. And he's like, "You are the prophet."
What the Prophet Muhammad, don't get too hung up on this, but what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, after I pass away, there is no prophethood. Why? Because I'm the last messenger.
Right.
But all that's left from prophethood is al-mubashirat. What are al-mubashirat? He says, he only mentions one thing, which is he says what? A true dream. Prophets experience true dreams. And they come, when you experience a dream, they automatically become true. We know this with Sayyidina Ibrahim and him seeing his son. Right? Why did Sayyidina Ibrahim see that seeing his son in a dream was a sign for him to go slaughter his son? It's just a dream. Sah? But the Prophet's dreams are true. So the Prophet ﷺ saying, that's all that's left from Nubuwwah. That's all that we left behind. Everything else, the other 45 signs, I don't know what they are. Allahu A'lam. I'm sure we can, there's wahi, there's this, there's that, there's other things we can talk about. But that's all that's left. You get me? Okay. So we said the first sign is true dreams. The second thing is Khalwa. You had a question? No. You had a comment?
No, I was just gonna say the answer.
Oh, what is the second thing?
Solitude.
Solitude. خلوة. ولما تقاربت سن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الأربعين حبب الله تعالى إليه الخلوة فلم يكن شيء أحب إليه من أن يخلو وحده فكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يهجر مكة كل عام ليقضي شهر رمضان في غار حراء. That the Prophet ﷺ didn't love anything more than being alone. And why did he want to be alone? Why do you think the reason he wanted to be alone?
So there wouldn't be like distractions in the outer world, so he could like focus. And try to
Okay.
think.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be distractions in the outer world so he can focus. But why else? Where is he? What tribe is he from, Hamza?
Just a guess with sincerity.
So, okay, sincerity is a big part of it. Yes.
Alright.
Quraysh. So he's from Quraysh.
Like the sins that were going on in the tribe.
The sins that were happening in Quraysh. His heart wasn't comfortable with seeing all this corruption that's going on in the city. I just gotta get away. I need just time to just focus, right? I need time to just focus. So he used to go every Ramadan, once a year, and he would spend the month of Ramadan in Ghar Hira, right? وكان ذلك مما تحنث به قريش في الجاهلية. And in Quraysh in Jahiliyyah used to think that this was some type of form of worship, being alone. So they didn't see it as something weird. They didn't think it was something off. They thought that, yeah, this is also a part of ibadah. SubhanAllah, right? But why this cave? Why he could have, you know how many caves there is around Mecca? Why Ghar Hira?
You could see
He sees
the tower from the cave entrance.
a direct view of Al-Kaaba. Were you going to say something? No? Yes? Okay. So you guys speak up. These guys raise their hands right away. You guys are like, is it right? Just say it. It's okay. Right? You should see us in class, man. Sheikh be just staring at us and we be just blurting answers from Pluto. Nothing to do with the real answer. SubhanAllah. Right? But Ghar Hira. Al-Hafid fi al-Fath, which is Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, he says, الحكمة في تخصيصه صلى الله عليه وسلم بالتخلي في غار حراء, and there's the wisdom behind him staying at the cave of Hira, أن المقيم فيه كان يمكنه رؤية الكعبة. The first thing is رؤية الكعبة. فيجتمع لمن يخلو فيه 3 عبادات. Whoever goes up there, غار Hira, there's 3 different types of worship that you can do up in غار Hira. The first one is al-khalwa, solitude. As some scholars say, this is a form of worship, which is why many scholars chose to travel and be alone for periods of times. Khalwa, na'am, is the first form of worship when you go up to Ghar Hira. The second thing is what ta'abbud, actually doing acts of worship. Wallahu a'lam what it was during that time before Nubuwwah, we don't know. Nor does it benefit us to know, right? وَالنَّظْرُ إِلَى الْبَيْتِ, looking at al-Kaaba is a form of worship itself. When you go and perform Umrah, for those who are going with us, in what? When do we leave? Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday. Yakhti, you're going with us or what?
I was advertising your
January 5th, you're right. January 5th. I wish everybody here could go with us, wallahi.
I wish to.
Inshallah, next year, bi'idhnillah. Or this year, we got some more coming this year, inshallah, Shaykh Sah.
Are you going in November?
In the fall.
In the fall.
In November?
November is the most likely one, sah? Inshallah. Bi'idhnillah. So stop using your PTO throughout the year and use it then. I don't want to hit you up when we go in November and then you guys tell me I don't got PTO left. Save it from now. Or quit your job, one of the two. Figure it out. Inshallah, I hope you guys can come with us, bi'idhnillah. But you'll notice when you go to Al-Haram, you'll find people, literally people sometimes sitting down just staring at the Kaaba. And wallahi, it brings a different type of peace. When you really lock in, it brings a different type of peace. And try to, as much as you can, inshallah, when you do get the chance to visit, to truly internalize that moment, because you don't know when you're going to be back. You don't know when you're going to be able to see it again in person. It's different. Completely different. Now, so inshallah, the second thing we said was al-khalwa. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يتزود لخلوته لبعض ليالي الشهر. What does تزود? يتزود. أيمن.
تزود? I don't know how to explain it. But
Explain it. You knew what ghamad was.
so it's like I don't know if someone providing him or like
صح.
yeah.
صح. يتزود, you're very close. Takes provisions. Providing. So if I need to go, if I know I'm going on a hiking trip, I'd fill up, I'd take extra water with me. Right?
That's تزود.
يتزود. So he would take provisions for himself because he knows he was going to be staying multiple nights in Ghar Hira. I'm going to go quick here, right? He knows he was going to stay in multiple nights. فإذا نفذ ذلك الزاد رجع إلى أهله يتزود قدر ذلك. And if his provisions ended, he would go down the mountain. He would go to Khadija radiallahu anha. She would prepare some more things. And he would go back up, right? فيقيم في حراء شهر من كل سنة ويقضي وقته في التفكير فيما حوله من مشاهد الكون. And he would spend his time truly internalizing. He would spend his time truly internalizing. See some of the brothers smiling. Why? Because Joseph just walked in. MashaAllah, tabarak rahman. But he would truly spend a lot of his time doing what? Trying to internalize, like, how did this come about? Go, when you get the chance, inshallah, we're going to go up to Ghar Hira. Now you just see buildings and things like that. Ziyad, did you get a chance to go up there?
I didn't go last time.
Inshallah, you get the chance to go. When you go up there, right, and you see the mountainous region, imagine 1400 years ago when none of these buildings, you just see rocks in the middle of the desert. Ginormous, huge mountains in the middle of the desert of just solid bedrock. And you would just internalize, like, how did this come about? Right? وَفِيمَا وَرَاءَهَا مِنْ قُدْرَةٍ مُبْدِعَةٍ. Explain that to me now. وَفِيمَا وَرَاءَهَا مِنْ قُدْرَةٍ مُبْدِعَةٍ. وَرَاءَهَا, he's seeing beyond it. مِنْ قُدْرَةٍ مُبْدِعَةٍ.
Creative ability.
Creative ability, but like mubdi' is like not even just creative, it's like,
Enormous.
wow, how did this come about? He's not just looking at it, but he's like, I want to know what's beyond this. There's got to be more to this than these rocks and just mountains and why they were, there's something deeper than that. He wanted to know. حتى وصل من الصفاء والإشراق إلى مرتبة عالية انعكست فيها أشعة الغيوب على صفحة قلبه المجلوة فأصبح لا يرى رؤيا إلا جاءت كفلق الصبح. This is a metaphor that Ibn Hajar is mentioning here. And he's saying that he stayed so long up there where he was internalizing, how did this all come about? There's got to be a reason these mountains are here. There's got to be a reason all this creation. It didn't just happen just because two big asteroids clashed or the atoms or whatever it is and we got a big... There's deeper reason for that. It didn't just happen just to happen. Right? Until he fully was satisfied and cleaned his heart and knew that he just didn't have the answer and was content with that. And that's when the ru'ya sadiqa started to come. And that's when he started seeing true dreams. Right? وظل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على ذلك 3 سنوات إلا أن جاءه الوحي وهو في إحدى خلواته تلك. Prophet ﷺ stayed for 3 years in this state, going up and down the mountain, up and down the mountain, up and down for 3 years. Until finally, Jibreel comes to him during those moments. ثالثا, the third thing is, after khalwa, تسليم الحجر والشجر على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The third sign that Allah was preparing him for Prophet is that the Prophet ﷺ would be walking and he would hear, like randomly, he would walk outside the city, nobody's around him. And he would hear what? Assalamu alayka ya ayyuha rasul. Assalamu alayka ya nabi. He would look around and say, who's saying that? And nobody's around him. Na'am? So he would sit there and say, what is going on? And as if he's hearing things. روى الإمام مسلم في صحيحه عن جابر بن سمرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إني لا أعرف حجرا بمكة كان يسلم علي قبل أن أبعث إني لا أعرفه الآن. Hadith Sahih, the Prophet ﷺ said later on to the Sahaba, he says, I know there were specific areas, specific rocks that used to say salam to me when I would walk around in Mecca. And I know them today. I know where they are. SubhanAllah. And this is one of the signs. And he still doesn't know, he's still at this point in his life, he doesn't know that what's happening to him. رابعا سماع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الصوت ورؤيته الضوء. Abbas رضي الله عنه قال إن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لخديجة. He would hear these things and he would see these things. And he says, إني أرى ضوءا وأسمع صوتا وإني أخشى أن يكون بي جنون. He said, I'm just hearing things and I'm seeing things, Ya Khadija. He's consoling, like he's trying to talk with his wife, his confidant, the person he shares everything with. He's like, yo, I'm seeing things. Things are happening to me. And I'm worried for myself and I'm worried that I'm starting to become a little crazy or a jinn maybe did something to me. He's getting worried from it. Till this point, he's still oblivious. He doesn't know what's about to come. He doesn't know. He has no clue. Right? لم يكن الله الخديجة رضي الله عنها, she said, فقالت لم يكن الله ليفعل ذلك بك يا ابن عبد الله. Allah wouldn't leave you. He wouldn't make you go through these things and make you feel like you're crazy. Why? ثم آتت ورقة بن نوفل. They went to Waraqa, her cousin. فذكرت ذلك له فقال, and she mentioned this to him. And he says he's truthful. He says صادقا. فإن هذا الناموس. These things are happening, and this is the namus, the same one that came to Musa, meaning Jibreel. He's causing these signs to happen to you, and these sounds that you're hearing. Gabriel, the angel. Now, so this is what's happening. Now we finally get to al-wahy, nuzul al-wahy ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is where we know the beautiful hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha that is mentioned in Bukhari, which is Sahih. Right? Hadith Aisha. فقالت أمنا عائشة رضي الله عنها أول ما بدأ به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من الوحي الرؤيا الصالحة. The first thing was when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم came, when the revelation started to happen, was the true dreams. في النوم فكان لا يرى رؤيا إلا جاءت من فلق الصبح. They would come true. حتى جاءه الحق, until the truth finally came. وهو في غار حراء, and he was in the cave of Hira. فجاءه الملك فقالوا اقرأ. And the angel came to him and said, اقرأ. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما أنا بقارئ. He said, I don't know how to read. But some scholars say, could this be a ma istifham? ما أنا بقارئ. Like, what do you want me to read? Right? I've never thought about that my entire life because I've always been taught he doesn't know how to read. But this is also a different perspective. What do you want me to read? ما أنا بقارئ. What is it that I'm going to read? نعم.
ما هو الذي تريد أن أقرأه؟
What was that?
ما هو الذي أريد أن أقرأه لك؟ يعني ask Jibril ما هو الذي
And that's not mentioned in Hadith Aisha.
I know that that's another natija.
Oh, that could be a part of it, yeah. But this is not mentioned in Hadith Aisha. قال فأخذني فغضني. Prophet ﷺ says he grabbed me and he hugged me. But he didn't just hug me, he hugged me tight. And he let me go. حتى بلغ مني الجهد ثم أرسلني. Till I felt like I was خلاص, depleted, no energy. He asked me again, اقرأ. ما أنا بقارئ. And then he did it again and again for 3 times. And he did it. فقال اقرأ فقلت ما أنا بقارئ فأخذني فغضني ثلاثة ثم أرسلني. فقال اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. The famous ayat that we all know. Right? Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم يرجف فؤاده فدخل على خديجة بنت خويلد. He was so scared he ran down the mountain to his wife. فقال زملوني زملوني. Cover me up, hold me tight. Wrap me down under blankets. فزملوه حتى ذهب عنه الروح. And they covered him up and they wrapped him up until he was finally calm and in a state of, a little bit more comfort. Right? فقال لخديجة وأخبرها الخبر. And he told Khadija. This is something very beautiful that I love about Khadija radiallahu anha, his wife. When you walk into the house, and let's say you just storm in, you kick the door down, and you're like, cover me, cover me. What's the natural reaction of somebody who lives in your house? What are they going to do? What are they going to say?
Freak out.
What's wrong?
What's wrong? What's happening? What's wrong with you? Right? But Khadija wasn't worried about that. She was worried about taking care of her husband. It's not the time for me to ask you what's wrong. It's time for me to take care of you. Right? Sometimes when these things happen and people come in and they're going crazy, it's not about like, what happened? What can I do for you at this moment? Everything else is irrelevant. But how can I comfort you at this moment? How can I be there for you at this moment? Right? She did exactly what he asked them to do. So they covered him. Right? Hatta, until he was finally calm and relaxed, not forcing anything out of him. So you going to tell me now? Is everything good? Are you calm now or should I come back in 5 minutes? No. She waited until he spoke by himself. Right? وَأَخْبَرَهَا الْخَبْرِ. And he told her. She didn't force it out of him. لَقَدْ خَشِيتُ عَلَى نَفْسِي. I'm worried about myself. I'm scared for myself. فَقَالَتْ Khadija. Look at the beautiful words that Khadija says. The wife of the Prophet Muhammedﷺ. She says, كَلَّا وَاللَّهِ مَا يُخْزِيكَ اللَّهُ أَبَدًا. She says, there's no way Allah will never abandon you. Allah will never embarrass you. Look at these beautiful words of such an amazing woman. Why will He never embarrass you? إِنَّكَ لَتَصِلُ الرَّحْمِ. You have good kinship. You keep good kinship ties. You check up on this person. You check up on that person. You're always the first to reach out to people. You're always the first to check up on all your friends and your family. You make sure nobody's left behind. Right? وَتُكْسِبُ الْمَعْدُومِ. وَتُكْسِبُ الْمَعْدُومِ. The people who need and they feel a burden. You carry that burden for them. And the people who don't have an earning, you earn for them. You make it your duty to earn so you can give them. So you can take care of them. For those who can't earn and don't got what it takes. Right? وَتُقْرِئُ الضَّيْفِ. And when guests come over, you take care of those guests. وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. And you go after the truth no matter what happens. You're always after the truth. You really think Allah will abandon you? Out of all people? Look at the things that you do, Ya Muhammad. Why would He ever abandon you? Look at the man who you are. Look how you treat people. Why out of all people? These are not the traits of Allah abandoning somebody. In fact, these are the traits of Allah choosing somebody. because of the traits that you do, because of the things that you do for others. قال ابن القيم في زاد المعاد, Ibn al-Qayyim says, انظر كيف استدلت رضي الله عنها بما فيه صلى الله عليه وسلم من الصفات الفاضلة. Look how she sat there and she didn't tell me, well, what did Gabriel look like? Did he have wings? That wasn't her concern. She didn't care about that. Wait, what? Iqra? But he knows you don't read. Why would he ask you that? No. Ibn al-Qayyim says this is something that needs to be studied here. انظر كيف استدلت رضي الله عنه بما فيه صلى الله عليه وسلم من الصفات الفاضلة والأخلاق والشيم على أن من كان كذلك لا يخزي أبدا. Because of these traits and things that he carries and the characteristics that he carries as a man, she reminds him that Allah will never abandon a person like you. Which is a reminder for us when we study the seerah of the Prophet Muhammedﷺ, that whoever carries these traits, very simple traits. What are these traits? Keeping good kinship ties. Oh yeah, I got issues with some of my family members, so what? It's beyond that, we're family. I'm going to pick up the phone and say, what's up, how you doing? Some of us are so petty with our family members. Now, he don't talk to me. I got to talk to him. She hasn't hit me up in forever. Why should I hit her up? Some of us here with our own families, our own bloodlines. Here she's saying that no, whoever carries these characteristics, you will never be abandoned by Allah. Whoever takes care of their guests will never be abandoned by Allah. Whoever helps the needy will never be abandoned by Allah. Whoever gives for the sake of Allah will never be abandoned by Allah. Right? فعملت بكمال عقلها وفطرتها. She acted with logic. She didn't rush to things that didn't matter. She acted with logic. أن الأعمال الصالحة والأخلاق الفاضلة والشيم الشريفة تناسب أشكالها من كرامة الله وتأييده وإحسانه ولا تناسب الخزي والخذلان. ولا تناسب الخزي والخذلان. She said that all these features is actually a blessing of Allah, and these features don't add up. Why would you, like, say you and your friends, you've been friends with somebody for so long, but then all of a sudden you're like, I can't be friends with them no more. Why would you do that? For what reasons would you stop being friends with somebody else? What are those reasons? Guys, the pizza's here. Focus with me. Why would you stop being friends with somebody? They're treating you badly. What else? Sure, but let's say religion isn't a factor here. But why would you leave a friend? Just morality.
Backstabbing.
Backstabbing. They have a negative effect on you. They don't care about you. Yes.
They gaslight, take advantage of you.
They gaslight? How do you know that word, man? How old is he, brother? 11? Yeah, man. That's good. I barely learned that word this year, bro.
It's on the rise.
They gaslight you. MashaAllah. Guilty as charged. Man. Yes, they do gaslight you. That is a good reason to leave somebody and not be friends with them, I would say. Blackmail you. MashaAllah. So she's saying, Khadija's saying, she's simply saying that there's no way you don't carry these features. And these features, they don't fit. She's using her logic. These features are not features of somebody who you abandon. You abandon people for the reasons we talked about abandoning them. You don't abandon them because you do these good things. Right? She's using her logic there. Right? وَإِنَّمَا يُنَاسِبُهُ أَضَادُهَا فمن ركبه الله على أحسن الصفات وأحسن الأخلاق والأعمال إنما يليق به كرامته وإتمام نعمته عليه. This is a blessing from Allah to the Prophet Muhammedﷺ for blessing him with these features. And if you're a person or you have friends that carry these features and these akhlaq, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Keep that friend around you for as long as possible. That friend who checks up on you. That friend who looks out for you. That friend who wants good for you. That friend who wants you to succeed. That friend who keeps good kinship ties with their own family. Those are good people to keep around you. Those friends who sit there and say, yo, you know what, we just got done eating, but we saw a homeless person outside, let's go feed him too. right? Those are the friends you want to keep in your life. Because these are the characteristics that you want, right? And Khadija then after that goes to him and she takes him to Waraqa bin Nawfal. She takes him to her cousin فانطلقت به خديجة حتى أتت ورقة بن نوفل بن أسد بن عبد العزى ابن عم خديجة, the cousin of Khadija. وكان امرأ تنصر فيه الجاهلية. So during Jahiliyyah he was a
What's the word again?
yeah, you weren't paying attention. Can't you say
No,
it?
تنصر فيه الجاهلية.
He was a Nasrani. He was a Christian. Right? He was a Christian. وكان يكتب الكتاب العبرانية. What does the word عبرانية mean? Hebrew. I actually didn't know that. That was a genuine question, by the way. Like I was actually, thank you guys for answering. But I made it look like, see, I played it nice. فيكتب من الإنجيل بالعبرانية, and he would write the Bible in Hebrew. ما شاء الله أن يكتب, whatever Allah allowed him to write. وكان شيخا كبيرا قد عمي. He was a blind man. When he reached old age, he became a blind man. فقالت له خديجة يا ابن عم. Khadija said to him, oh my cousin, اسمع من ابن أخيك. Listen to your nephew. Is the Prophet Muhammedﷺ the nephew of Waraqa? Don't make sense. What is she trying to say?
Close.
Well, because Waraqa ibn Nawfal was much older than the Prophet ﷺ, and nephew was just a term for.
I never thought of that.
Because
That was good.
He died very.
Yeah, well, don't spoil it. Hold up. What were you gonna say?
Well, you said he was Christian, so maybe she knew there was a connection? Because Ismail, is there a connection?
I don't
Nah,
think
it's
so.
too
I don't
far-fetched.
think that's a little. You're going too far. It's actually much simpler than everything you guys said. Bruh, y'all from the same tribe. Like y'all somehow related. Like just listen to your neck. Like y'all somehow related somewhere down the line. You know what I'm saying? That's all she's trying to say, right? We're all from the same tribe.
I see.
Now,
It's common back then that elders to say to their younger generation, listen to this nephew or young man.
yeah.
Because of the different
Mashallah.
generation.
And it's a very common thing. Actually, even in Libya, that's used where a lot of the times, like, I would see people who are from the same area that my dad's from, even though I know we don't really have, like, direct bloodline right now, but it could have been years and years back. But they'll say, like, they'll actually say, Ibn Am, Ibn Ammi. They'll say that's very normal, right? Not even the same last name, but just from the same, just kind of general area, right? So Waraqa says, Ya ibn akhi, ماذا ترى? Waraqa asked him, let's quiet down, let's finish strong here, a few minutes. Waraqa bin Nawfal asked, he said, what did you see? What did you see, Ya Muhammad? Right? He said to him, guys, let's quiet down, we're about to finish, just a few more minutes, just focus here. He said, what did you see? He told him, فأخبره الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, told him exactly what he saw. فقال له ورقة هذا الناموس الذي نزل على موسى. He says, this is the same angel that came to Musa. Let's stop here real quick. We said that Waraqa is a Christian. Who's the closest prophet to him? Isa. Jesus. Why did he say this is the same angel that came to Musa, but not the same angel that came to Isa? Hand up. Go ahead.
Because from the cradle,
No. I know where you're going with it, no. It was literally said in class, Sheikh said no. So I'm doing the same thing. Why did he use Musa but not Isa? They're both Rusul and Anbiya. Yeah, both of them.
Because the original.
Hold on, no, we had a hand up here.
Bani Israel did not believe in Isa alayhi salam.
wow.
Bani Israel, which Jews lived in that time, did not believe in who? Jesus. But Musa is muttafiqun alayh. We all believe in Musa. Christians, Jews, we all believe in Musa. Right? As when we read a hadith and we say muttafiqun alayh, you heard that before? Everybody agrees on this hadith. Right? They could have said Ibrahim too, but Musa was the next up in line. He comes after Ibrahim. Why go back? Why go farther? You know? Ibrahim. Could have said Adam by then too. Whoever. You know? But said Musa. Naam. So this was something that I thought was very beautiful. Why Musa? Because I've always thought about why Musa, right? Why Musa instead of Isa? Naam. But that's because of the reason muttafaq alayh. The Jews and the Christians both believe in Musa, but only the Christians and the Muslims believe in Isa. The Jews leave that out. Naam. And he says to him, يا ليتني جدعا ليتني أكون حيا إذا يخرجك قومك. He tells him, Ya Muhammad, I wish I will be alive when your tribe kicks you out. I wish I will be alive when your tribe kicks you out. Tell me what's going through the Prophet Muhammad's mind right now.
That he's thinking that he will get kicked out.
Yeah, so that's the obvious. He's going to get kicked out. What else? How would you take this news? You're somebody who's lived with them for 40 years, okay? And on top of that, they all love you. You're well known. They're your people, like you're Mr. Popular in town. You married the richest woman and the most noble woman, and you come from a noble family. Kick me out? Imagine what he's going through his head right now. They're really going to do that to me? For what reason? Why would they kick me out? Right? And here Waraq is trying to explain to him. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أمخرجيهم? They're really going to kick me out? قال نعم. He said, yes, they're really going to kick you out, Ya Muhammad. لم يأتي رجلا قطا بمثلي ما جئت به إلا. There hasn't been a man who came with what you came. There hasn't been a prophet who came that their own people didn't kick them out or fight them back or something happened to them. So he's trying to, Waraqah here is even trying to prepare the Prophet Muhammad, letting him know, like, you got something serious on your hands. If your own people going to kick you out, just be careful what's going to come up. Right? And he says, وَإِن يُدْرِكَنِي يَوْمُكَ أَنْصُرَكَ نَصْرًا مُؤَزَّزًا. And he says, if I'm able to live, there's going to be one day that's going to come and I'm going to be the one to stand by your side and make you victorious. Waraqah is telling the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, ثُمَّ لَمْ يَنْشَبْ وَرَقَ أَن تُوفِيَ وَفَتْرَ أن توفي. But Waraqah did not live, and shortly after Waraqah bin Nawfal passed away. I know the question, is he Muslim?
Yeah.
I would say in class what Shaykh Mikhail said, Wallahu a'lam, Allah knows best, that Waraqah became a Muslim, and we do consider him part of the Sahaba. Wallahu a'lam. Allah knows best. If you heard another opinion, please share it.
Well, I heard that in Yasir Qadisiyya, he was considered among one of the groups of the Quraysh who was not considered an idol worshipper, but like, because there was no, they tried to follow the.
Was that before you heard about the message or after?
Before he heard about
Okay,
the
so we all agree on that, yes.
He grabbed onto like the remnants of the message of Ibrahim, Islam, and the true messages.
Yes.
And since he's Christian, because maybe back
Cooking,
then,
let him cook.
because back then there's some Christians and Jews that were still following the true religion of Isa Islam and Musa Islam. So maybe it could be said that he was a Christian who followed one of
The true religion of Christianity. Naam. MashaAllah, tabarak ar-Rahman. What he said is absolutely correct. Wallahu a'lam. Sa'ad, what's your opinion on this? What have you learned?
That verse is pretty famous. That's who the Prophet said that Allah would raise him as his own ummah.
Allahu Akbar. Yeah.
The reason is he died before the Prophet
Went publicly with the message. Yeah.
There were three other individuals that also believed in either Christianity or like oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
Yeah,
at the time.
We'll cover that another time, but not today.
There's a group of people.
But I'm sure there was. And we did talk about that in class, I remember. Right? And then right after that, Tuwufia, and then Fatar al-Wahi began. What is Fatar al-Wahi? Fatar al-Wahi.
Review.
There was a interruption in the wahy.
A pause in revelation. So imagine the Prophet ﷺ sees Angel Jibreel. He comes down, Angel Jibreel comes and tells the Prophet ﷺ, you're a prophet. Boom. Story's done. I'm not going to see you for a little bit. How do you think the Prophet ﷺ going to take that? When's it coming back? I need to know if this was a dream. Did I see? I need to see this again. 1 second. I need to see this again. Right? And Wallahu alam, we're going to cover next time, inshallah. Next week we'll be in Umrah. The week after that we'll be back, inshallah. We're going to talk about this Fatrat al-Wahi. How long was this and why did it take place? And then this is when the seerah gets really good, in my opinion. You start learning about the first and beginning stages of Islam and what the Sahaba went through and what it was like to be Muslim at that time. After 10 sessions, we finally got to the prophethood of, the revelation of the Prophet Muhammedﷺ, the years of prophethood, meaning we only have 23 years of his life to unpack, which will be a lot, inshallah. Which will be a lot, bi'idhnillah. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khair. Let's do some quick questions. We started late, so I get to stay later. Yes?
Will all your 10 sessions be
Uploaded, inshallah.
Okay. Maybe explain that to some people who don't know.
Oh, I'm going to expose myself. You're going to see my YouTube. I just upload whatever lectures for those who miss. You can watch them on YouTube with just my name, Abdullah Hermena. For those who missed the lectures, inshallah. And if you want to catch up the first 10 sessions. Yes, little after.
Was that pause in the Wahi, the one that was addressed by Surah Al-Duha, at the end of it, it came Surah Al-Duha, or was that a different
I'm not spoiling anything for you. You got to come in 2 Fridays and you're going to learn. Sounds like you already know it though.
What was the good thing you said you didn't share with us?
What was his question?
He answered you with something, you're like, oh, that's good, I didn't think of that.
Oh, he said, when I asked why did he say, listen to your nephew? Listen to your nephew. What was your answer?
Because I didn't know if I was very old.
Yeah, because he's a wiser, older man, which is what Brother Marwan said. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. MashaAllah, tabarak rahman. May Allah protect you. InshaAllah. What other questions do we have? Yes?
When Jibreel was telling Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to Iqra, read, how did Prophet Muhammad learn how to read if he did not know how?
Sheikh, can you answer that one? I'm not prepared for that question.
The Prophet ﷺ didn't know how to read, and how did he read?
How did he learn how to read?
How did he learn how to read? So the Prophet ﷺ didn't learn how to read, but the revelation would come down upon him. So when it came down upon him, it came in various forms. One of the forms, sometimes it said it came as a bell that was ringing. So the revelation was heavy, and it would come heavy upon him. And if you have anything, it came heavy upon him. One time, Sayyidina Abu Bakr was sitting next to him, and his leg was under his leg. And then the revelation came down, and it was pushing on his leg. He said, I thought my leg was going to break. So, the Prophet ﷺ, in the beginning, he was worried that he's going to lose what was being revealed to him. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, Surah Qiyamah, that's when we all have Qiyamah. Inna alayna jam'ahu wa qur'ana, fa idha qara'nahu la ta'jal bihi li ta'jala bihi. La tuharrik lisani li ta'jala bihi. Don't worry about us, but don't worry about losing the memory of this Qur'an, because it's basically coming down into his heart. He's memorizing it immediately and he's sharing with the people. He's not reading and memorizing. Allah is sending it to his heart. He's sharing with the people. Some people write it down, some people memorize, and then they share with the others. So reading was not something he had to do. Yes.
I think the
Through
Quran,
the angel Jibreel, of course, not through the angel Jibreel.
the Quran as written was in the heart of the Prophet ﷺ, because he does not know how to read. But if one they write some word, when he asked them to write,